What's going on here? What's so interesting in this?
What was it?
Stevens is confused.
All right, hey guys, this is Corey and Mark. We are back in the shop, and it's a little bit different this time around. I'm getting Mark to sit down and go through and look at one of our project builds. He will never, ever build plans for a project. So this was the closest I was able to get to have him sit down
Do
and
you
explain his
have the
thoughts.
plans?
Yep.
Yeah.
So today we're going to go through, we're going to look at that outdoor patio table you built.
This came from our most recent video. This is what we're building.
Let's just start right at the top before we even get into this. How'd you get the idea for the design? What plans did you use? How'd you get started?
Oh, all right, easy. What? We set out and said, hey, we want to make an outdoor table. I've got a couple different ones out back, and I do have one that's made out of wood. It's just a cube. You know, it's just straight on all sides, and I don't know. Lately, we've been building projects with more angles to them, and I said, let's see if we can use this. Let's see if we can take the cube and give it an angle. You know, that's all I want to do. I just want to build something a little more interesting than cube.
Yep. All right, and then what's this guy? Because we didn't show this one in the video.
Right. So after I had that idea of making a cube, then I sit around thinking about how the heck am I going to make it? How is it going to go together? So my thought was, after giving it some thought, my thought was do 4 posts and just connect them with rails. Okay. And I just made this prototype just on a Saturday afternoon thinking about, all right, so how did I do that? And even now I'm wondering about that. Cut the rails with the 10-degree ends, make, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces exactly the same size, get the other piece, figure out what the bottom length needed to be, boom. Anyway, this is the prototype for that. They just knocked together really quick just to see if the concept was gonna work.
So yeah, we're just going to watch this with you. It's going to be an extended version, so I wanted to just break through it all. So
this right here, I wanted to just mention, this is as good as I get to offering plans, because this is really how I start building a project. Think of the idea that I want to do, sketch it out on paper, write down the approximate sizes, and just go, all right, take it to the saw and start trying to figure it out. That's how I work through a project, which is why unfortunately, I can't provide plans because that's how I do it. But I'll always give you my sketches when you want those. You love taking video of us planing wood.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. I'm like, why are we watching planing wood? Why don't you tell me about that?
This is more actually talking through the function of how you wanted to build the table. So you went through, you first cut all your pieces to, I think it was 1.75 inches thick is what we cut it down to. Because you basically wanted to get to having square pieces.
1.25 inches.
1.25 inches.
Yeah.
You went through, ripped them to size, but then we wanted to square them up on the...
We finessed them down to size in the planer. Okay, you're right. I wanted to plane all 4 sides. Okay, yeah. I don't have a joiner, right? So I'm gonna rip my pieces to width, but that always does leave, what do you call it? Saw marks on the edges. So is that what we ripped them to? Yes, we ripped them to width, and then we ran them through the planer. But I don't know if we could tell which side was which. But we ran all 4 sides through the planer.
You were specific about each time we brought them over, turned it once, so that we could go through and get all 4.
Yeah, keeping all the sides square. It kept the sides square, and then clean up the saw marks. Not that I still use a good ripping blade, but it still leaves a little bit of saw marks. And it was like, well, if I plane those off. That also, right, so you're gonna, on that last pass, it's dead on 1.25 inches going down one side, you rotate it, it's dead on 1.25 inches. Now you know you're perfect at 1.25 inches square all the way around.
So you weren't trying to get quarter sawn look on the outside all the way
No,
around?
I wasn't trying to cheat anything like that. There was nothing epicureal going on in terms of that.
Let's go ahead. So after the planing,
Did you tell these people that you're the marketing manager and
I didn't.
and the esteemed videographer?
No, I felt like I missed
Video
all
taker?
that, to be
Yeah.
honest. Should we restart this?
No, we're gonna throw it in right here. We're doing this podcast style, mistakes and all.
This podcast still edit. I think
We're gonna throw the label on the screen.
There we go.
Assistant to the manager.
I actually thought about that. Are we going to put Mark Stevens, Woodworkers Source, Corey Milstein, Woodworkers Source? I mean, I think it's implied we're both Woodworkers Source.
Yeah.
One of us has to. All right, so
What are we doing here?
how did you come up with the 10-degree angle?
Oh, okay. I came with the 10-degree angle because I thought 5 was too small and 20 was too big. That was it, man. And that just came from drawing it out on paper, going, all right, I think that's about right. Really, when I made that prototype, I probably threw the dart at 10 degrees and said, I think that'll work.
Okay.
And 10 degrees is a positive stop on that miter gauge. So that's really a point to make about, I'm also building to the tools I have versus building to the design I have.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out both ways there, but there's a positive stop on that thing, so it makes it just handy.
Knew you were sitting on that angle.
Yeah. Clamp a stop to the fence. Right. This is my method for repeating cross cuts and getting exact length on multiple pieces. That's my method.
And what's hilarious is, okay, we kind of were talking about that. I'm going to pause for a second.
Yeah.
We were talking about this, and you've used before your ripping and your kind of your sled for being able to go through and put like a, oh God.
What are you talking about? The straight line jig?
Yeah, your straight line jig.
Okay.
You used to use that straight line jig because it has the channels. You can clamp that to your fence.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you're talking about how it was a little too big. And I was thinking about this. You really need to just make a little
small one. Yeah.
just a little 5-inch guy that you run that channel on. It would make that so much easier, so you don't have to use a double clamp.
Dude, that's totally true. I should do that. That's a good idea.
Now you guys will see that in the next video.
Yeah, right. He's the ideas guy too, by the way.
You betcha.
Chief ideas guy. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, the arrows there that's from the planer, right?
Yeah, that was from the planer, and
we want to know what the
I just
original
loved
size
that.
were.
I loved how that looked, since there's the arrows going right through the cross cut.
Cut this direction. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do. Is we mark it that way.
Yeah. This is the jig. This is gonna be too big to show.
It is going to be too big.
Yeah. This is the jig, right?
The most important thing too is that this guy needed to be square, so that you could keep straight. Right?
Yeah. It really. Honestly, this is another comment on like the plans on like why we don't offer plans. It's because this jig really wasn't that well thought out. It worked. It worked, right? It got the project done, but really the joints didn't come out that good. We
complained about those.
Yeah, yes, I complained about those. Yeah, like they didn't come out that good. I don't know how I would do it differently, but
yeah, and it was funny, right? We talked about even with making the frame, whether or not you go around this way and make a frame, or you did the top. You were concerned because it was like matching the angle coming through. I think was going to be. If you did do the frame this better,
no matter what you do, you have to figure out how to get this flush or how to get that flush.
Right.
After you're done, it's a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Although,
Either way, it's a challenge.
Well, and I think that was the thing. The retrospect of how to do it better was if you did these two as frames, you could at least use like a nice equal pressure because you're just going into you're making them square,
right?
Versus having to come up with this angled jig for how you're going to get
You'd
that.
still have the problem when you go to clamp this way. You still got the same problem.
That's true. Yeah, you would have needed.
I mean,
you would have needed it then.
You're gonna have to figure. Either way, it's a puzzle to deal with.
Yep. Yeah. And you'll see it later when we do when it was time to do that final glue. It wasn't like you do 3 sides and then do the 4th. We had to do all 4.
Yeah. Punching in dominoes, that was my, right? This is, again, you like building to the tools I have. I have a domino, so I elect to use it because it's so dang handy.
Yeah, I think
But there's other ways to do this. You know? Glue and dowels, screws, classic mortise and tenons, of course. Or just nail it, who knows? Cleaning up these glue joints sucked. Did not think that through.
Was there a better way in retrospect? Do you feel like you
Well,
would've done it
there's always like the tape off the joint before you glue it up, but I didn't feel like doing that. It looked like it was gonna be a nightmare.
Well, and you were also having to mark, because that domino is not dead center. You were having to mark the sides to make sure
They had a mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were made. Yeah, that's
so
right.
if you did tape that joint off, that probably would have added.
You have to transfer the information to the tape. Yeah. I was like, we'll just.
Yeah.
But the tape came in handy right there. So the tape in the joint just helped hold the piece in place, if you can picture this, because it sits at a 10-degree angle. Otherwise, it would have just kept falling over while I put in the other side, be chasing that.
Yeah, and you can see here, that's where that cross member piece, right, was like basically at the perfect spot. So it took you a bit to work this guy in.
Yeah.
But then we knew that that was where it needed to be. Oh God.
Well, on the dry run, that's where it needed to be. And once you added glue, and once the clock is ticking, all of a sudden this became a big problem because I know that the top rails all the way around are actually those are the worst joints on this table. They're not that good.
Okay, and remember, so the conundrum we had, this turned out to be we cut these pieces on a Friday, and then it was the next week, because remember, we tried to do the dry fit, and we kept putting the pieces together without the jig. It was before you had the jig. So yeah, no, you didn't have the jig originally. You were trying to put together the jig, and we were testing the pieces, and if you joined the bottom two pieces, it made the top piece look like it was too narrow.
Right.
And then if you joined the top piece, the bottom looked like it was too narrow. And we couldn't for the life of us figure out which piece was wrong.
It was poor craftsmanship for sure.
But you didn't have to remake either of those pieces. I mean, I think we did a little bit of resizing.
Yeah, we didn't remake them. I don't know. I think we just dealt with it. Just said, this is just going to be imperfect.
Yeah. All right, so then we broke out the roasted oak.
The roasted oak. I love this stuff.
Yeah, this stuff. It is so nice.
You kept that in. All right, see, you see that? What I do, I clean up the little nub.
Yep.
As I come. You're probably not supposed to do that. I'm sure someone's going to tell me that I'm operating unsafely.
Yeah, and that was just because, was it kicking out just that little bit, or what was happening? Because you were doing it.
It happens all the time when you rip any piece of wood. It's like that fall off piece. Like I don't know. Yeah, it's like the final fibers just break,
fiber just sticks,
and you're left with a little nub.
Yep.
You always have to do something to clean it up if you're going to go rip that piece again.
Yeah.
You got to do something. What would a traditionalist do? I don't know. I think we all just do that real quick with our left hand. Yep. More planing. More sex. Oh, what did we were taking these down from 13/16 down to something like 5/8 because we thought the top just looked a little too thick, too heavy.
Yeah, we felt like it was too thick, and owning up to the mistake not mistake, but remember what we did here.
Design challenge.
Design.
The design, it's not a mistake.
It wasn't even a design challenge. We ripped all the pieces to size, and you ripped them straight, and then it was after we did that, and after we planed them down, that we realized we should put a bevel on them so it matched the table.
Yeah.
And so we could have done that while we were ripping all those pieces and saved those cuts. But no, we had to send them all through again just to get that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey man, these are the things we do for you guys. Yeah. Oh, and alternate. We're going to alternate the slats too.
Yeah.
Which some people picked up on, that we alternated the bevel.
Yeah.
It looks cool. I think it looks cool.
Yeah, that was a fun one. And then
I'll take credit for that idea. Thank you.
Yeah, that was all you. The domino here, I don't think we really showed it great, but that bottom piece, when you had the individual ones, you had to put those on that 10-degree angle, which was a slight challenge just for getting that to feed correctly.
Oh, on the ends.
Yeah.
That's one of them need to be angled. I don't even remember. Is that true? The one that goes into the end.
The one that goes in, all those straight pieces, we had to put the domino on an angle. It had to, or the piece kind of had to feed into it on an angle so that would mate properly.
Right.
Angle. It had to, or the piece kind of had to feed into it on an angle so that would mate properly.
Right. Does the tool let us do that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we were
the
able
thing-
to bring in those sides, but
Yeah.
you still kind of had to like.
Had to skew it. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I always worry about that type of a cut. Because I'm like, this thing's going to blow out or something, but it came out all right.
Mhm.
What's going on here? What's so interesting in this?
What was it?
Because Stevens is confused.
That was my way of getting myself into the video. If you guys saw, there was that little bit of the camera. That's me, guys. I'm not just the guy sitting here.
Not just the guy sitting here coming up with great ideas. Look at that good fit. Yeah, tape on that side to help hold it up, because this was such a trick because of the angle, the thing wanted to fall over.
Mm-hmm.
But that tape on the outside of the joint just helped hold it up. Yeah, extended wood glue. Oh my gosh, that saved our bacon on this.
It did. Well, and again, this was that challenge of we couldn't do half of that because of the dominoes. And I guess we could have figured out, if you weren't using a domino, you could have figured out another way. But it was like we had to join both those frames together.
With all pieces.
Yeah. You couldn't do one side then the other.
Yeah, you're asking for trouble if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Now we call in the reinforcements.
There you go. See? I'm somewhat helpful.
Yeah, you're somewhat helpful. You're terrible at sanding, though.
Who's good at sanding? Nobody's putting that on the resume. And
The precision 10 degree.
The 10 degree. I almost wanted to put in even more of that footage because that was one when I wasn't here. Mark captured at least 5 different takes of setting that angle.
It's really important. It's important. What did I care about there? That, okay, making this cut didn't need to be precisely at 10 degrees. You just need to be close enough so that we could flatten it.
Yep.
That was it.
And now this is the one you can react to this. This was a bit of a challenge, right?
Do we have, yeah, there we go. Oh my, this was a crazy challenge, but I took 2 large pieces of plywood. All right, if you understand what's going on here, I'm trying to set up the saw to, the prototype again. Yeah, okay, the bottom of this, for example, you could like, how do you say this? The posts extend past the rails and they're just not, we don't have a flush bottom here. Same issue was at the top, but it was just the opposite way. We just did not have a flush top. What I'm trying to do is flush off the top on the table saw, but in order to do that, you need to support the work. And so it's either run it through the table saw like this. Am I saying this right? With the blade tilted at an angle to match that, or just leave the blade at 90 degrees and find a way to hold the work at the right angle.
And the added issue here, right, was that because you did the bottom first, the bottom you were able to run the top against the fence.
Yeah.
And it was fine, and you could cut this guy on the angle. But then once this guy's cut flat, it's no longer going to work to run that against the fence.
Right.
Because of that angle. And
there were wonky things happening.
Yeah,
at that
it's wonky
end.
coming back in.
It wasn't truly flat.
Right. So this was your way of, right, really what you're doing more than anything right now is making the bottom flush to that back piece. So that then you can at least make sure.
Trying to give us a single plane to work off of to transfer it to I guess, the top.
And you know what? I don't know if I remember. Did you end up disattaching this for each of those cuts, or did you just flip the entire jig?
No, I had to reclamp it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And reclamping every time it introduced some more errors in that. Can you even, this one's already cut right there, right?
It looks like it might be. Yeah, it might be out of sequence on that.
That's okay.
Yep.
This is hard to explain what the heck's going on here, but
there's some more.
It's just the challenge of trying to hold an awkwardly angled workpiece. Yeah.
We discussed this one too, because I almost wondered if you should have just taken a hand plane and just worked them down by hand.
Well, I tried that. I did try that first. It's just too much wood to take off. It's white oak. Like, white oak is so hard and heavy. I mean, plane's fine, but man, it was taking a lot of work. But I actually, and I tried it, but because you had to like clamp it, how do you want to say this? There was just so much torque on the top based on from where you're clamping it at that it wasn't working well. It wasn't working well.
And
All right, we're going to fit this guy in.
Floating top, had to figure out what to do with the...
Oh, and our exposed dominoes, that exposed the dominoes. So we're like, all right, let's clean up, let's seal those with epoxy. Again, like, plenty of people have complimented us on the design, which salute to you. We totally appreciate it because we worked hard on that. But as far, and going back to plans, like, if I wanted to make plans for this, I would want to make this 3 or 4 more times to dial in the various challenges before trying to tell other people how to make it.
Yep. Oh, you know, we should give a shout out though here. There was somebody who suggested just using CA glue.
CA glue, yeah.
To seal the bottom.
Yeah, honestly, that totally would have been better. In retrospect, I don't know. Well, we just didn't think of it.
No.
I don't know. I have got to get a better ideas guy. A better ideas guy would have caught that.
Shoot. It's my last video, guys. See y'all.
The hot glue gun, man. I thought this was a great idea.
I thought this was the sloppiest thing you did. The bottom of the table, guys, there's a reason we didn't show you a whole lot of that. It's not cleaned up.
No.
But it's going outside.
But it's going outside.
Who cares?
Yeah. I don't know how I got that first one straight. It looked like I just glued it down. I had to... straight meaning perpendicular to our rails, but maybe...
I think you probably measured...
Made a marking, maybe?
Yeah, did a marking for how far out.
Handy spacers, what are those called? Popsicle sticks.
Yep.
Those worked out great for spacing the slats.
Somebody complained, well, no. How many times has anybody asked you, though, about finishing the bottom of like a panel or a table that you've done?
Well, yeah. I know. No one wants to do it, but I'll tell you, you got guys like my dad who are like, if you want to see how good a finish is, look at the bottom. That tells you how much care they put into finishing it.
So needless to say, you're not showing your dad the bottom of that table.
No, yeah. He'd be embarrassed. I should have countersunk those screws. Honestly, that's what sticks out to me there. I'm like, I should have countersunk the screws. That was sloppy work, Stevens. So did we cut it there? Did we bevel it?
We did. Yeah, we beveled it right there. You can tell because it was going. I noticed the different slot on your crosscut jig. I was like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, we did. Okay.
I couldn't tell. Classic sanding. What did we say to do? No finer than 120 or something?
No finer than 120, and this is that ease over the edges, especially the roasted oak. That stuff is brittle on edges like that.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. So we're going to glue in the rails, and there's a screw. Why is it?
Because you're
the head of that screw.
Yeah, you were concerned about the head of the screw possibly coming up, so then you went ahead and drilled.
If I had countersunk the screws, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Oh, it would have made everything much easier.
See?
Secret is this one's going in the trash and then make a new one.
Ah, the reveal. The table is built. It's our Death Star. Oh, there was someone who posted a comment and goes, bought a quart, may as well use a quart.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Use half a quart. You need the other half for the next table.
I mean, honestly, yeah, we didn't quite use it all up. But honestly, the top sucks it up. The roasted oak wood really sucks up the finish a lot. It's real thirsty. But still, it's fun. There we go. Well, that's the end, huh? What is that? That's that UV protector stuff?
Yep.
Let's see if that works.
Yeah. So there you go, guys.
That's the table.
That was the table we went through, and hopefully this gives you a little bit more insight. We wanted to, we capture all this footage, and then we try to cut down a video to make sure it's not going to be too long, or we can stick to answering whatever the question's going to be.
Look, if I can, we're lumber guys. We want to talk about lumber, it's less about projects.
Yeah.
I don't know. But people always ask us for plans, what's going on. But so here's a peek. We can't give you the plans, but we can at least show you the steps of what we did, why we did what we did. Hopefully it helps.
You want to give the classic outro?
Oh man, we set woods like this, people like you.
I'm Corey. This is Mark.
I'm like, how'd that go again? Yes. See you in the next one. That's funny.